Drive time.
You see the sign that said that?
We're in the middle of heating up dinner. And even though it may not look the best, I can assure you it was originally a really good meal before I froze it and now have unthawed it. As you can tell from the background, it's official. We're finally on the road making our way towards warmer temperatures.
Heck, I'm welcoming 24 degrees. Yesterday it was -6 when we got up.
See, 24 degrees. It was quite frigid when we left, and it felt like all we encountered yesterday was more frigid temps, several gas stops, a couple of rest areas, and, if I may add, one really disgusting dookie.
Big old nasty landmine laying in the parking lot at a rest area. At a rest area. The building was 20 feet away.
What?
Then again, maybe they had an accident before they got to the rest area.
I don't know, it was pretty disgusting, especially when I looked outside my window and happened to notice 20 feet away, it laying there, just like Mr. Hanky showed up and dropped over from the cold.
We encountered a lot of weird stuff.
Marty's right. We encounter so many odd things when we're traveling on the road that I could probably do an entire video on that. What do you think, Sightseers? Is that something you'd watch? I'm still in the process of making my morning coffee. Add a little bit of this to start. See, I got my grounds ready to go. Add a little bit of, yeah, my hands are shaking. That's right. Don't know why. Maybe it's all nerves from all the excitement of being on the road. Because, you know, it's like we've been sitting in this holding pattern for how many weeks? It's been too cold to get out and do anything in Wisconsin. You'll have to forgive the mess, sightseers, but we are in the midst of traveling, and well, that's just the way of the road. We actually spent the night in a rest area, which I will get out and show you here in a moment. But first, I thought I would share with you a little bit of where we think we might be headed. Leo's being a little freaky deaky this morning, I think, from the sound of the trains that you can hear in the background here. That's one thing about rest areas. You don't get to pick where they place them.
Yeah. They always seem to be between a rail yard and a highway for us.
It probably has something to do with the fact that a lot of these interstates are set up along, you know, the commerce, the railways, right? Don't you think?
I would think some of them probably are. You got to consider with a railroad, you know, it'll run from like Chicago to St. Louis, so you could actually follow that
right on down to your destination. And what were we supposed to be talking about? Where we're headed, our destination? Well, as it is right now, we don't even know yet where we're going. I should clarify, we do know where we're going. I mean, we have a broad view of where we're going. A lot of it is based on the weather, and we're trying to take a look at the weather and then look at places that we haven't been before and try and figure out what's going to be most weather friendly for filming. But we also have kind of like an end point that we like to get to and then kind of work from there. And so far we haven't really narrowed that down yet, just because the weather in such a large part of the United States has been really just cold and wintry. It's like old man winter decided that all the other states beyond, the northern typical states like Wisconsin, North Dakota, all those states, everybody else needed to, experience some winter weather, I guess, this year. So while I finish up this cup of coffee, clean up from the dogs having breakfast, possibly eat some breakfast myself, Marty and I are going to figure out where we're headed for today. Right, Marty? Marty looks like he could go back to bed for a few hours. Breakfast is served. I know, not going to win any awards for being healthful eating, but it's the best I could do considering the circumstances. We don't have water filled up in our tanks yet, basically because we had to winterize the camper, as we were waiting to leave, Wisconsin. It was freezing temps since November, October, I don't know. It's been a while since Marty winterized it. And until we get in an area with warmer temperatures, we're not going to go through the process of unwinterizing it. Of course, there's a beagle begging for bacon, and a baby Leo sitting in his mama's lap, because he's the type of dog that always needs to be in somebody's lap. Although now I think he's eyeing up Marty's bacon. Yeah.
Yep.
Poor guy. Doesn't even get a taste of bacon. We're getting ready to leave, but before we do, I wanted to show you where we overnighted, or rested is probably a better term, here in this rest stop. I guess technically the stay limit is 3 hours, but they also encourage you, if you've been doing a lot of driving, to rest for, I believe, 10 hours is what the sign said. So I thought I'd show you where we rested. Got our rest in after full days of travel. This is a really nice rest area. This one happens to be along Route 66 in Illinois. I thought it was cool that inside they have some relics from old Route 66, which is why I wanted to take you inside real quick and show you what they are. They have this display right over here where you can see some of the old, what do they call them? The hood ornaments or decor that was placed on vehicles back in the day. You can see, I think that's for an Impala. Of course, you got the Cougar, Thunderbird back there, and then a Ford emblem right here. I think S22 might be for a Chevy, but don't quote me on that. Marty's inside. He's the expert, when it comes to all the old vintage and historic vehicles. He knows quite a bit. Over on this side, they have this here talking about Funk's Grove pure maple syrup, and you'll notice that it's actually spelled with an I instead of a Y, and that's because a woman, Hazel Funk Holmes, who I guess was an owner of the property at some point where this maple syrup was being made, in her trust, she specifically stated that the name had to stay with the spelling with the I, because back in the day, Webster's Dictionary had set the standard for that time that the spelling for syrup with an I meant that the product resulted from boiling down of the sap without adding any extra sugar, because I guess that was their way of differentiating between syrups syrup spelled with a Y, where they added the extra sugar, and then syrup spelled with the I, where they didn't. And then besides the information about Funk's Grove pure maple syrup, you'll find additional Route 66 memorabilia in this case. Now, if you go outside, you'll find that there's this really cool map up over here that talks about the different Route 66 attractions that you can find in Illinois. Like, for example, over in Staunton, they've got the DeKalb Junction Roadhouse. Years ago, we actually stopped in Staunton where I filmed this rabbit ranch. I think it was called Henry's Rabbit Ranch, if I remember correctly. And then you can see up here on the map is Shirley, where you'll find Funk's Grove pure maple syrup spelled with the I instead of the Y. And then a few other places like Joliet, McLean, Edwardsville, and Collinsville. I guess over in Collinsville is where you'll find the Brooks Catsup, not ketchup spelled with a K, but catsup, ketchup spelled with a C. A very large water tower built in the shape of a ketchup bottle. Whether it's still there today, I don't know. We haven't done a lot other than that one visit to Staunton. We haven't done much as far as exploring Route 66 sites here in Illinois. Not for really any other reason than that the last couple of years when we've been through here, we've been, coming through in the dead of winter. See, they got snow here on the ground. About as much snow as we have up in the Northwoods, actually. But as I was saying, we haven't been here when it's been warm enough to actually want to go and check out some of those sites. And speaking of sites, if we don't get a move on here, old Sightseeing Sally isn't gonna make it to her next destination, which, if you want to find that out, you're just gonna have to follow along and keep watching our videos. Well, Marty, do you think we should maybe start the truck up and let it warm up a while?
Yep.
We got a lot of driving today, don't we?
450 miles, I think.
Leo, you ready to go 450 miles today? I don't think Leo cares so much, as long as he's got a lap to sit in. But I know somebody who enjoys staring out the windshield, watching, looking at the sights. Our Beagle Weagle, Mocha Boca. Ooh. Apparently Marty decided to move us ahead a few inches, and it's like, we're moving. Everybody's like on alert. I'm gonna take one last visual sweep around. Believe me, the last thing you want to do is accidentally leave open a cabinet or forget to shut a drawer. We've traveled, now this will be our 6th time going out, and over the years we have done some major traveling faux pas, including forgetting to shut a drawer real tight. Oh, I think there was also a time that one of the cupboard doors popped open and all the canned goods came flying out. That was back when we had the motorhome. And, well, when you stop for a quick rest and you come inside and find all your belongings strewn about, like somebody came in and raided the place, the last thing you want to do is deal with that. Hence the double check. I am going to leave that open. That's on a spring type dealio, so that should be okay while we're driving. We're letting the heat in under there, trying not to let so much moisture build up. But other than that, I gotta grab a few things here, throw on my jacket, and we're gonna boogie on out of here. I realize, sightseers, this isn't probably the normal type of video that you see from me, but I wanted to get something out this week just so you knew that we are on the road and we are going to be bringing you better adventures ahead. Besides, if you don't like it, well, all I'm going to say to that is it's just the way of the road, sightseers. Just the way of the road. There's nothing like a 60-degree weather swing to put a new perspective on things. Only a few short days ago, Tuesday to be exact, we had temps up in northern Wisconsin at
-19.
Yes. And now 42 degrees feels like a heat wave. I'm about ready to bust out my swimsuit. Just saying. However, since that really isn't in the plan for today, I'll just enjoy the sunshine and the fact that when we go outside to make a stop, whether it be to fuel up the truck, take a pit stop when nature calls for us or the dogs, or when we finally stop for the night to rest, we're not having to deal with such frigid temps. This is tolerable, definitely. Now that can't be right. Is it right? Is it really 60 degrees? There's Marty putting in more fuel to keep us going.
Mind your speed.
Well, I guess the 60 degrees was a fluke. Probably more or less like the sun shining on. The hitting the right spot while Marty was filling up. But we are happy to see that the thermometer is going up.